Hi there, and welcome to the IBAC Tech Trek podcast, where we explore the outer reaches of insurance technology. I'm Tom Reid, your science officer on this journey, and beaming aboard to join me today is Samuel Belanger, the co-president of Cemiar. Samuel, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, Tom. Thank you for having me. Thanks for the invite. It's great to be part of this IBAC podcast series and just have a chance to share a bit with you and the audience about what we do here at Cemiar. Yeah. And so, as you said, my name is Samuel, and I'm both the co-founder and the co-president of Cemiar, but I mostly manage everything regarding business development, sales, and growth.
Thanks for that, Samuel. Can you give us a bit of background on Cemiar, the company itself?
Yeah, of course. So Cemiar, it was and it still is a software engineering firm, and of course now we only focus on insurtech and insurance technologies. So basically, our main mission is to enhance efficiency and profitability in insurance operation by leveraging AI integration and automation technologies.
Great. So you have a product called CemiarLink. Can you describe what CemiarLink does?
Yeah, of course. So just to give you a bit of context of Cemiar. So as I said, we're still an engineering firm, and before we became oriented in insurtech, we completed dozens of complex integration projects for our client, and it kind of became our core expertise to access data and use it in the most optimal of ways. And we had to build so many connections and automations between different softwares and of diverse tech stacks, that our engineers eventually they found a much more efficient way to connect all these systems. And so again, before we became oriented in insurtech, we started to develop this API hub. It's our own API hub, which is kind of a centralized platform with the right routes and APIs to integrate plenty of software systems. It kind of became this singular source of access to every software we connected. So you can see it as this very modular API. So yeah, this is just a bit of context. We've then spent about maybe a year and a half just doing full-on R&D, research and development in insurance operation. So we met with tens of large agencies down in Quebec. The goal here was to understand BMSs, other tools that they use in insurance, and understand the different processes and tasks that these agencies were required to do on either a daily or weekly basis. The realization was that there was this perfect alignment between their issues, which is a very strong underuse of their data to make their operation more efficient, and our core expertise, which is of course APIs, integration, and automation. So getting accessibility to your data and using it in the most optimal ways. So yeah, this is really what we've done. But in terms of what we've done for the insurance industry, once we've met these agencies and realized all the processes that were inefficient, we've built a very specific solution.
Okay, so essentially what I'm hearing from you, Samuel, is that you've done a bunch of, let's call them custom projects in your past, and you've seen a common thread throughout this, that the ability to move data between different systems such that you can avoid brokers, or that brokers can avoid doing double data entry, get better usage of their data. You saw this as an opportunity, and this is, I'm guessing, where CemiarLink came from.
Exactly. So of course, with any businesses, there was a bit of opportunity. We were developing this API technology, and we saw that there was a big need in insurance for both API and integration as a whole. So there was like this perfect match at the right timing, and we just went ahead, did a lot of homeworks and research and development to investigate and see if there's something we could build to fix these issues. And so what we've built actually is it's a two-part solution. So the first part is, of course, the API hub, CemiarLink, and the second part is these AI, artificial intelligence automation modules that are attached to this API hub. So first of all, our platform, CemiarLink, it serves as a central hub. So it standardized communication across various tools and systems used in insurance. So it kind of manages what information to send, how to send it, what technology to use to communicate with these diverse softwares. So simply, we kind of avoid the complexity of having to interact with each software individually. And instead, we provide a single hub that manages all connection, all routes, making it easier for our engineers to obtain and send information into those directions. So you just have to communicate with CemiarLink, and you already have all the routes traced towards these other tools. And yeah, since our vision is that basically each specific task or process in insurance that is found to be inefficient, there is one specific targeted solution to fix it. So what we've done is that we've developed a range of AI modules and scripts, each designed to address and optimize a different workflow, a different process. So really, these modules they kind of interact with our API hub, CemiarLink, to retrieve or submit the necessary data, automating, of course, tasks that are typically done manually.
That's awesome. And we'll get into the business outcomes in a second, but I'm quite intrigued that you have integrated with a bunch of different sort of insurance-oriented systems. Can you be a little more specific? Like which systems are we referring to in terms of the integrations that you have in production right now?
Yeah. So of course, as you understand, like the main objective of our technology at our core was to be able to integrate different softwares to ensure that all softwares, tools, and apps work together to create new possibilities. So, and honestly, I believe there's some fantastic products in the Canadian insurtech space. However, I feel like agencies most of the time they're so focused on adding new solution, but in reality, their current systems are not being utilized at their maximum capacity because there's no synergy between all the tools and its data. So now with CemiarLink, of course, we can unify your data, ensure that your software, your system, they work together for you. And yeah, just to give you a few examples, of course, because of CemiarLink, we're now a bit recognized by tech solutions in Canada for our capabilities to integrate their solution into a BMS like Applied Epic. Some of the integration we've built is, I could give you a few examples, but we've built the integration between the tool Quoty, Nick Kids Quoty, to Epic. So basically, we make sure that data from Quoty goes into a BMS, so it automatically creates, update clients' activities, policies. We've also done it for a VoIP solution like Jazz Communication and their 3CX system, again, to connect it to Applied Epic. So basically, at the end of a call, all the notes as well as the recording are automatically saved in the client's folder and filling the right fields into the BMS. So these are just a few examples, but of course now we do integrate a lot of vendors and tools to BMS.
So Samuel, let's talk about some of the business outcomes here. We've talked a bit about how CemiarLink connects different systems together, and intuitively that is going to drive some efficiency. But can you get a little more specific with us and talk about specifically how CemiarLink does, in fact, improve a broker's productivity or efficiency?
Awesome. So again, integration is a big part of it, but what we've done is build modules, artificial intelligence modules to enhance operation, to enhance efficiency. So these modules, they're made for both commercial and personal lines, and they are extremely powerful. So I'll give you an example, but basically we can do the equivalent of maybe 12 or 15 hours of human work in about just 15 minutes. So there's really some tremendous savings. And I think the easiest way is to show you just one module. We have 10 as of yet, and we're developing new modules almost every month. But let's talk about maybe our best seller as of yet. It's the automation of commercial billing. So of course in commercial lines. So basically what it will do in this case, our AI script will retrieve all policies that needs billing daily. The AI engine that we've built will process these PDF policies to do a few things. So it will identify the type of policy, whether it's a new business, cancellation, renewal, endorsement. It will classify the type of policy if it's direct or agency. And then it will really extract all necessary data from these PDF policies, whether it's readable or just a scanned image, really to extract all details needed, which is maybe the insurer, the co-insurer, premiums, taxes, endorsement, etc. And the end goal of the module in this case is to do every task once we have this data, to do every task that is normally done manually into the BMS. So it will create the transaction, it will generate the letter based on your firm's template, of course. It will add an activity, the attachment. It will even create the PDF invoice. And at the end, of course, it assigns everything to a broker. So everything is ready to be sent. And yet this is just one simple example, one module, but even in this module, we can go even further. If it's a renewal, we can extract, we can find the previous policy and the new policy, extract all the coverages from both of these, and the automation, it will build a automatic highlighting table that shows the difference between the coverages. So you'll see the increases in each coverage, what's been added, what's been removed. Again, the goal is really to just help the broker do his job much quicker. And yeah, these modules, so I think it's a big part of our success right now. These modules, they are not RPE. These are API based automation. They're 100% adaptable, customizable by our engineers to fit the specific ways of doing business of each agency.
Wow, all of that sounds like a lot of work that a human used to do, and now the tool is doing it for them. That's great. So you've addressed the efficiency one, and obviously you mentioned you have like at least 9 other modules with more coming. So that's just one specific example. Let's talk about the client's perspective. How does, give me an example of how one of your modules makes the experience for the policyholder, for the client, better?
So of course, all of our automation modules, they are on their backend solution on the operational side. So of course, it's more for either the administrative team, the brokers, or the agency itself. But at the end of the day, when we take a process that takes maybe 20 hours in a week and we automate it to do it in 10 or 15 minutes, which is almost a real-time automation. What happened is that there's many benefits that ends up going to the client side, of course. So there's a much faster response time since everything is done manually. There's a big reduction in manual errors, omission in the policies, because of course our AI, they're not perfect. There's nothing perfect, but it's more than 99% precision. So I'm not sure exactly like what's the human rate of errors and omissions, but it's very tough to beat the precision of our AI. So there's very little errors and omission that are made to the client side. And of course, it's also a lot about using these modules to have data-driven insight, really to help the broker give maybe better advice to its client, because he knows some specifics that sometimes he wouldn't see as quick as he could now with these modules. He'll see the increases in coverages. He'll know why some changes has been made, because we can also validate scan policies to validate maybe claims and changes in previous years to justify increases in prices. So all these modules, all put together, they really give a lot of additional value to both the brokers, the administrative team, and the client side.
Great. So you're making it faster from a client's perspective. You're less errors. And I can tell you, I actually commissioned a study a year or two ago that we looked at error rates. Now, this was in personal insurance, which is sometimes less complex than commercial. And we found that humans had about a 3% error rate. So if your AI is doing 1%, you're 3 times better. Plus, it sounds like you're also enriching the feedback from a client's perspective so that they can actually see why certain things are happening, not just the fact they're happening. So you're hitting a number of different metrics, if you will, from a client's perspective. Yeah, let's go back to the broker. So making things quicker, faster, better. How have you seen your clients turn this into enhanced sales or growing their businesses? Is there a correlation there?
So of course, the goal is not to it's not that people will lose their job, because this is actually a question that we get asked a lot. If I automate everything, people will lose their job? I'm not sure for the U.S. market, but in Canada, there's this big needs of workers in insurance, a shortage of labor. And so what happens is that right now, in order to grow as a business, as an agency, you have to hire more people. And these people are very tough to find, especially at least in the Quebec market, in the Canadian market as well. So basically, with our automations, with our innovations and our artificial intelligence, the objective, and that's what we tell our clients, is that they can do much more work and take much more clients by keeping the same team. So they don't have to grow in terms of having more people doing these tasks, but just doing these tasks much more efficiently.
Yeah. So getting rid of all the annoying grunt work that doesn't really add value allows the same number of people to deal with more clients, right? Which obviously drives growth.
These are the jobs that are sometimes harder to find, because less and less people want to do manual jobs where they have to clicks on every screen and just do double entries and manual entries. People are looking for much more creative work where they can just add some human value to the process.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the functionality tool, we've talked about this about the business impact. Let's get into some technical considerations. And you did at the beginning talk about how you're the business development guy, not the engineer. So hopefully you can answer some of these questions without having to drag in one of your colleagues. But let's talk about security, right? So you're obviously moving client data, broker data back and forth. How do you guys ensure that that data stays secure?
So yeah. So first of all, Tom, as you said, I'm definitely not the engineer, and every time we meet a client, I can go to a specific point. But when we go into specific processes or a question regarding the technologies and security, I always have a very qualified engineer with me to make sure that the answer is accurate. But I can still give you an answer in terms of security. It's a very big point for agencies when they work with us. It's one of their first questions. And so, first of course, all our servers are they're located in Canada. So we use, if I remember correctly, AWS, DigitalOcean, and Microsoft Azure, which are all ISO protected. But the main part is that we handle the data in a sense that it transacts to our servers, we process it, but then we send it back. So the big thing here is that nothing remains on our side. It's almost flawless in terms of security. So we don't give any sensitive data on our servers, and we don't keep any data. And even though we don't keep any data, so there's almost no risk, we still adhere to industry standards such as HTTPS. We use token-based access, and there's a very safe architecture that has been built. But yeah, again, no sensitive data are kept, or actually no data whatsoever are kept on our side. So it's always on the servers of the client or the BMS itself, which are very secure.
You have a number of clients that might be smaller and you have some clients that might be larger. Does your tool have any issues with the scale of a larger brokerage versus a smaller brokerage, or is it easy, straightforward to scale it up no matter how big a brokerage is?
So so basically, like our automation, they're made to be customizable. They're made to fit any business model. Our commercialization of the product, of course, we've done about a year and a half of R&D before we started to commercialize the product. But we started in last November, so not even a full year. We mainly started in Quebec first, and in our first year, our solution has been so praised by both small and large agencies that we've converted more than half of the 40 largest brokerages in Quebec. we're in advanced discussion with the other half. And we also work with much smaller agencies. So we do have a lot of agencies of 200 to 500 employees, but we also have agencies of 8 to 25 employees. And the business model is made to fit both of their needs. Actually, I think maybe one of the easiest way to answer the question would be to maybe to explain the business model or the pricing, because the pricing is really made to fit every need. So basically, there's two kind of pricing. We start with a fixed price to implement each module in your BMS, in your agency. So the price of each module varies because of the complexity. For example, maybe the priciest module that we have right now is it's commercial billing. It's at $30,000 to implement it. Of course, if you want to develop it yourself, it might be about $500,000. So it's very complex, but we can implement it for 30,000. And the cost it's not to pay back our research and development. It's really the time of our engineers to create the solution into your BMS based on all your specification. But most of our modules, they range from $7,000 to $15,000. So it's very accessible for even smaller agencies. And then there's this subscription model. So once we've implemented the module in your BMS, in your agency, you'll start to pay based on your volume. It's the volume of queries. So I'm trying to see the best way to explain it, but let's say you want to automate renewals. So this module, I think it requires about 10 queries per renewal. So there's a calculator on our website where you can enter your number of queries, and it will show you the monthly price. So basically, it helps you understand the associated cost between your number of either transaction, renewal, invoices that you have to do, and the monthly cost of the automation. So of course, as the volume grow, you pay more. So the business model fits both small, medium, and very large size agencies. And let's be honest, it's so those very large agencies, they have tremendous volumes, of course, to manage in terms of queries, in terms of data exchange. So the model that we've done is that the more volumes of queries that is done, the cheaper the price per query. So of course, it's a model that shows that will offer a better ROI for bigger players, but it will still give a very good return on investment for smaller clients, even if they're 8 or 10 brokers in their agency. So there are so many benefits in automating manual work for an agency. Of course, diminution in errors and omissions, a very high speed of execution that is near real time, and it also reduces reliance on human intervention to grow your agency. But ultimately, our priority is to ensure that every module that we implement into an agency delivers a clear ROI, a clear return on investment. So often, what we'll do, we'll actually talk with accountants of our clients just to compute and calculate the cost difference between doing a specific workflow, a specific process manually versus doing it using our AI innovations. And in all cases, there's a very big difference. Sometimes smaller, sometimes bigger, but most of the time they save at least like 50% in terms of cost to do this specific task. So yeah, ROI is a big key of what we're looking at when we're trying to implement a module into an agency.
So that's great, Samuel. Thanks for that. So one of the things I do like to talk with insurtechs about is, obviously their tools, their technology, that kind of stuff. But one of the most important things from a broker's perspective is the implementation, right? So it's if you have the best technology, but it's difficult to implement, it can be problematic. So maybe you can talk about support and resources that are available from Cemiar to your broker clients on the actual implementations.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, the implementation of each module It's entirely done by our engineers, by our developers. It's a very efficient onboarding process. Of course, depending on the process that we need to automate, depending on the complexity and the specific tasks that we need to automate, we always need a point of contact within the agency to fully understand how to do the task and how you want it to be done. What's the workflow and what's the way of doing that specific task in your agency? And every agency, they have these specialists that are doing a certain task, a certain process. Sometimes they've done it for 5 years. Sometimes they've done it for 40 years. So they have this tremendous insight, and it's important to talk about these people because it's because of them and their knowledge of the tools, of the processes, and insurance in general that we've managed to build what we've done. So when we implement a solution, the first thing is for us to identify at least one point of contact to whom we can ask questions and just really make sure we understand the process well. Again, the implementation sometimes for longer processes, it can take 2 months. Most of the time, it's about 2 to 4 weeks. But yeah, the work is done on our side. In terms of work you have to do as an agency, it's pretty minimal. Sometimes 1 or 2 15 minutes meeting a week for the first 2 weeks to make sure we do we have all the right the right entry points, the right way to do specific tasks. But other than that, the work is done on our side. I think your second part of the question was support, and there is a lot of support actually. So when we automate these processes, some of them are very complex. Actually, we've been told sometimes that they would be impossible to automate. We're lucky to have very qualified engineers that found ways to automate these, but there's still at the end of the day some support that needs to be done. And we do understand that it's an issue for you if there's a queries, a support tickets because something is not working, an automation is not working. It needs to be fixed instantly. So our philosophy at Cemiar is that support is always the first priority. Even if we have ongoing development with a client, when there's a support ticket, it's always processed either instantly or on the same day, so that your workflows or your business processes won't be affected if there's any issues.
Just have one last question for you, Samuel, and maybe you can just tell the audience where's Cemiar going in the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months. If we fast forward a year to a year and a half from now, what does Cemiar look like?
Everything that we do is to enhance efficiency, and it all starts with integration, automation, and AI. AI is a big part of it, and since our core mission is data accessibility, we want to push it to the next step. So there's all these systems that are used in insurance, right? There's many tools, and there's new vendors, new tools coming in every day, and all the data is spread around these tools. And sometimes for either an administrative person or a broker, it can be real hard to find the right information instantly. So the next step to the solution that we're going is to use these routes that we've built, to use these APIs, these connections that are very robust, very strong, to implement artificial intelligence and really just make sure that it's like almost a LLM model where we can access any data in an instant, whether it's in a PDF, whether it's in a drive or a BMS or maybe a VYP solution. So accessibility is where we're going. We've done some tremendous advancement as of yet, but there's some few steps that we've identified working with our clients, speaking of their needs, speaking of what are their main issues. And there's a specific modules we've started working on it. It's more advanced even. So I think we should be able to deliver some first concept of the solution in about 6 months. All the solution we've developed, they've started from a client problem, from a client issue, either in their workflows or in their organization as a whole. So yeah, this is a bit of where we're going in the next few months.
The world of insurance is changing because the world of tech is changing. Join us on the journey at ibactech.ca.